You won't get a calendar invite for it. No push notification, no trumpet. One morning, the air feels slightly denser and more forgiving. Colors arrive with their volume turned up. You catch yourself staring at the edge of a coffee cup as if the universe had hidden a door in porcelain. The familiar grid that organizes your life, name, job, history, softens. You didn't go anywhere, yet the coordinates have moved. People call it many names: awakening, non-dual glimpse, mystical union, peak experience, Satori. I'll call it a cosmic consciousness shift, not because the cosmos changes, but because your aperture does. The lens widens, and what was background radiance steps forward as the main character. This is not a theory I'm selling. It is a field report from the interior. What actually happens? At the simplest level, the center of experience relocates. Ordinarily, your sense of I sits behind your eyes, issuing commentary like a sportscaster. In a shift, that little commentator gets very quiet, or dissolves, and perception floods the whole stage. Sounds don't arrive to you. You find yourself as what's hearing. The body still breathes, thoughts still pass. But the invisible fence between me and everything else feels like chalk after rain. The effect is paradoxical. You feel vast and precise at once. You become interested in the scene where your fingertip meets the breeze. You notice the micro-textures of a friend's voice. Time breathes differently, sometimes dilating into honey, sometimes snapping clean, moment to moment to moment, like beads sliding on a string. This is not dissociation, and it is not fantasy. It's a distinct mode of consciousness with recognizable signatures. In contemplative science, researchers sometimes describe a reduction in the brain's ordinary self-referential chatter. Think, the default mode network, and an increase in present-centered awareness. You don't need the jargon, you'll know it by its felt sense. Unity. The world is not over there. It's continuous. One fabric, many folds. Lucidity. Thought appears as a weather pattern in a vast sky, not as law. Tenderness. You feel naturally protective toward existence, including yourself. Freshness. The ordinary shines. Light on tiles, steam from a kettle, the geometry of trees. Authority shift. Meaning feels sourced from silence rather than anxiety. What it's not. It's not a performance. It's not a personality upgrade. It's not a trophy for the spiritual shelf. It's not denial of pain. The shift is not that life stops hurting. It's that hurting happens within a larger kindness. The body gets the memo first. You may feel heat at the base of the spine that rises like a shy tide, fine buzzing in the hands, a halo of pressure around the brow. Breath unknots on its own, like a sail catching an intelligent wind. Sleep might deform for a while, waking at the thin hours, 2-4 a.m., vivid dreams, a sense that the body is being rewired in low light. Treat these as weather, not omens. Hydrate. Walk barefoot on something honest. Soil, stone, wood. Rinse your face with cold water. Eat food that looks like it remembers the sun. When the voltage climbs, stay simple. Precision in the basics lets the extraordinary land safely. The 3 reorganizations. A real shift doesn't just add a pleasant layer to your day. It reorganizes 3 arenas: attention, values, and action. Attention reorders. Your awareness unhooks from compulsive monitoring and lands in sensation, breath, and the plain miracle of this. The inner critic sounds thin, like a radio in the next room. You notice the gap between a thought arising and you believing it. This gap is not a void, it is freedom. Values reorder. Quietly, relentlessly, you reprioritize. Noise loses its glamour. Integrity becomes non-negotiable. You hunger for the real. Clean relationships, competent craft, true rest, honest speech. You stop worshipping speed. You become suspicious of anything that cannot survive silence. Action reorders. You still do emails and taxes, but the motive current changes. Forced action from fear, lack, performance, tastes stale. Inspired action appears, smaller than the ego prefers, cleaner than the ego would choose. You start moving like a river that knows the terrain, the surge and the shadow. Every emergence drags a shadow. When light pours in, corners reveal dust. Old grief cracks its knuckles. Ancient defenses flash their badges. You might cry for no narrative reason. You might feel exquisitely sensitive. Too much light, too much noise, too many people who don't mean what they say. This is not failure, it's integration. 2 cautions: rule out biology, chest pain, relentless insomnia, dramatic mood swings. Ask a clinician. The wise path is mystical and pragmatic. Beware spiritual narcissism. The shift does not make you special, it makes you responsible. If you're using awakening to avoid apologies, budgets, or boundaries, that's not awakening. That's costume. Relationship recalibration. When your inner instrument retunes, some songs no longer fit. Expect boundary updates. The authentic no becomes available, warm and clear. Some relationships deepen because you finally show up. Some loosen because performance bonds dissolve. You will crave fewer companions and truer ones. Let it be. Love requires borders. Generosity requires energy. The shift doesn't isolate you, it clarifies your village. The question you didn't know you were asking: can my nervous system host more reality without flinching? That's the test. The answer is not in fireworks, it's in consistency. You don't need constant bliss, you need dependable coherence. Think of coherence like tuning. When 2 instruments match, resonance amplifies the tone. When your posture, speech, calendar, and phone habits tune to the same note, your life gets louder in the best way. The cosmos isn't rewarding you, it's resounding with you. Synchronicity clusters. After a shift, you may notice meaningful coincidences flocking, books falling open to the exact line, meeting the person you were thinking about, themes repeating across dreams and daylight. Respect them. Don't mortgage your house because a license plate said 777, but don't ignore the delicate choreography either. Synchronicities are less messages from elsewhere and more evidence of alignment, a reduction in static so patterns can reveal themselves. The 2 errors to avoid clinging to the fireworks. The first opening can be dramatic, but abiding clarity is quietly fluorescent, not neon. If you chase ecstasy, you'll miss the medicine. Downplaying the pivot. Pretending nothing happened to seem normal is a self-betrayal. You don't have to shout, but let your calendar, diet, and friendships reflect the truth. You met a wider sky. Practices that hold the door open. Think of these as low-glamour hinges that keep the door from slamming shut. Morning consecration, 5 minutes. Sit before you touch your phone, 1 hand on heart, 1 on belly. Inhale through the nose for 4, hold 2, exhale 6, hold 2. Repeat 7 cycles. Whisper a clear intention, let me be accurate, kind, and awake today. Attention reps through the day. Choose 1 anchor, the feeling of your feet, the exact temperature of your tea, the soundscape of a room. Touch it for 10 seconds, 10 times a day. Micro-presence beats grand vows. Integrity ledger, evening, 3 lines. 1 place I told the truth today, 1 place I performed. 1 small repair I'll make tomorrow. Repair swiftly. Treat integrity as core strength. Voltage hygiene. Protect sleep like an endangered animal. Dimming lights after sunset, morning light before pixels, caffeine curfew, simple meals. Your nervous system is the temple and the choir. Create something small daily, a paragraph, a sketch, a riff. Transmute raw energy into form. If you do not express, you will implode. Weekly wilderness, 1 unmediated hour outdoors, No phone, no audio, no goal. Let your senses recover their native resolution. Witness circle. One person who can hear your truth without fixing it. Speak. Be seen. Seeing stabilizes reality. The 3 kinds of shift. Not all openings are the same. It helps to name them. Glimpse, seconds to minutes. A curtain lifts, the world sparkles, then closes. Gifts, faith and curiosity. Stabilized access, minutes to hours. Returns regularly with practice. Gifts, repatterning habits, relational honesty, creative surge, trait-level shift. The default reference point relocates. The old separate self-story remains useful, not ultimate. Gifts, durable peace, clean action, service. You cannot bully yourself from one to the next. You can prepare the conditions, fewer leaks, cleaner inputs, consistent practice, and sincere service. How do I keep my job while my soul is rewiring? By downshifting speed, not standards. Keep your word. Ship the work. But bring your nervous system with you. Insert white space between tasks. Single task like a monk. Calendar your breaks as seriously as your meetings. Don't burn the village because you discovered the mountaintop. A 7-day integration sprint, run this for 1 week after a major opening or any week you want to deepen. Day 1. Ground. Eat warm, simple food. Walk 45 minutes at talking pace, no headphones. Write a single page about what changed. Title it, What I Know Now. Day 2. Reduce input, no news, no scrolling. Delete 1 app for 7 days. Reclaim the attention budget. Day 3. Repair, make 1 amends. Email, text, apology. Not dramatic, just clear. Clarity is spiritual hygiene. Day 4. Create. Make a small thing that didn't exist yesterday. Publish it somewhere even if 3 people see it. Teach what you just learned. Briefly. Day 5. Serve. Offer 1 hour of competent help with no invoice. Service is a stabilizer. Day 6. Silence. 2 hours with no speech, no media. Watch what surfaces. Write down the top 3 themes. Day 7. Consecrate. Name the values that survived the week. Turn them into calendar blocks. If it's not on your calendar, it's not a value, it's a wish. When it feels like too much, if you feel spun out, racing thoughts, 0 sleep, grandiosity, downshift. Heavy food, slow walks, fewer metaphysics, more laundry. Talk to a grounded friend. If you can't land after 48 hours, get professional help. There is a difference between opening and overheating. Wisdom knows when to ventilate the room, the secret nobody told you. The shift does not make you immune to sorrow, it makes sorrow honest. You will still lose people you love. You will still fail in public sometimes. The difference is that pain no longer argues with reality. Tears don't mean you're off the path. They mean you're on it with your eyes open. How you can tell it's integrating. You apologize faster. You schedule rest without guilt. You say, I don't know, and mean it. You become ruthlessly gentle. Beauty ambushes you in parking lots. You start choosing actions that would still make sense if nobody ever knew. If you want a single practice, when confusion spikes, ask, what is the kindest, truest next step that takes less than 5 minutes? Do that. Then the next one. Cosmic consciousness is not a grand staircase. It's 1,000 small, honest steps on the ground directly under your feet. A cosmic shift is not about leaving your life. It's about inhabiting it with unarguable presence. It's the difference between staring at a map and feeling the earth under your boot, between calculating love and letting your chest warm a room, between surviving time and meeting the exact moment you are in fully. You don't have to chase it. You don't have to fake it. You can cultivate conditions, clear the noise, and let reality introduce itself again and again until the introduction becomes a marriage. If something in you is nodding, If the words don't feel like ideas, but like instructions you already knew, then treat this as a commissioning. Seal your leaks, guard your fire, tell the truth, make something, serve someone. Step into the day as if the universe trusted you enough to loan you its eyes, because it did. And it does, and it will. This is the Thought Alchemist. Thank you so much for watching.